Hello everybody, my name is Alexa Solberg and today we're going to talk about concept development and analysis for Nurse 891. So this will be from October the 3rd until October the 9th, and we'll do a discussion post as well, so keep an eye out for the questions that I'll pose there. So we're just going to do a bit of an overview. So we're going to talk about what concept development and analysis means, a concept versus theory, concept construction, attributes, antecedents, and the consequences of a concept, types of concepts, concept analysis, as well as theories, concept synthesis, concept derivation, risks of borrowing knowledge, the use of concept analysis in advancing nursing knowledge, and the application of all of this for a better understanding. So what does this even mean? For the nurse who desires to discriminately, formally, and concretely examine a phenomenon in depth, the most logical place to start is by defining the phenomenon or concept for further study. This is not an easy task, however, and significant time, research, and effort must be made to adequately define nursing concepts. To simplify the process, a number of strategies and methods for concept analysis, concept development, and concept clarification have been proposed and used by nursing scholars for many years. So that's by Wills and McEwen on page 50. To talk about a concept, so it's an abstract notion that is dynamic and difficult to define, according to Wills and McEwen. Concepts are action-driven generalizations of interactions that are open to self-regulation and change, according to Loran in 2017. Concepts are a symbolic statement that describes a phenomenon or a class of phenomena, according to Wills and McEwen. A concept is formulated in words that enable people to communicate their meanings about realities in the world and give meaning to phenomena that can be directly or indirectly seen, heard, tasted, smelled, or touched. A concept may be a word, so grief, empathy, power, pain. 2 words, job satisfaction, need fulfillment, role strain, or a phrase, maternal role attachment, biomarkers of preterm labor, health-promoting behaviors. When they are operationalized, concepts become variables used in hypotheses to be tested in research. So that was all from Wills and McEwen. So further defining a concept. The difference is a theory is mental constructions or ideas that are used to represent experiences and supported by evidence, according to Wills and McEwen. Narrowing down a concept into a small idea that can be proven or disproven. In nursing, theories are systematic explanations of events in which constructs and concepts are identified. Relationships are proposed and predictions are made to describe, explain, predict, or prescribe practice and research. Without nursing theory, nursing activities and interventions are guided by tradition, outside authority, hunches, or simply be random, according to Wills and McEwen, which is a problem in nursing because we know we want evidence-based practice, that everybody is doing the same thing instead of this willy-nilly, do what you feel like kind of thing. So how do we come up with concepts to theorize? So concept construction. So some concepts are formed from direct experiences with reality, others are formed from indirect experiences. Practice of formulating, supporting, and critically examining different ideas and alternative perspectives aimed at increasing or decreasing the acceptability of controversial standpoints. It promotes concept development. So taking a look at things that we already know and either building on it or taking away from it, depending on what we find. Concepts are embedded in framework theories or groups of beliefs. The source of nursing concepts may also be from natural world, from research, or derived from other disciplines, which oftentimes in nursing, we do borrow from other disciplines, but we'll touch on that further on. Attributes, antecedents, and consequences of a concept. Attributes are words or expressions used with frequency by authors to describe characteristics of a concept, according to Rogers. Attributes constitute a real definition as opposed to a nominal or dictionary definition, and it is what makes the concept unique. Concept analysis seeks to identify attributes that define the concept, according to Wills and McEwen. So it's something that makes it specific. Antecedents are understood as situations, events, or phenomena that precede the interesting concept. Antecedents help researchers understand the social context in which a concept is used, as well as favoring the refinement of the concept, according to Rogers. The consequences of a concept concern events or situations resulting from its use. Identifying antecedents and consequences can shed light on the context in which a concept is generally used, according to Rogers. So for an example, Simpson had an article in 2013 talking about alarm fatigue, which is the lack of response due to excessive number of alarms resulting in sensory overload and desensitization. So say you're working in an emergency room, you've got alarms in rooms 1, 3, 5, and 7. They're all going off at the same time. And room 2, their cardiac monitor starts to go off, but because you're so used to all of these alarms, you don't end up reacting to something that you should have. So in this situation, the antecedents of nurse alarm fatigue are involvement of a healthcare professional, ability to subjectively evaluate feelings, and a patient care environment with excessive stimuli. The consequences of alarm fatigue are a lessened capacity to give a normal response to a signal, a significant clinical event missed or ignored that could lead to a potentially harmful patient situation, and limited perception of the clinical significance of the alarm signal. So hopefully that helps to clear it up a little bit as to what these things really are. So understanding the relationships. So the antecedents have a relationship with the concepts, with the attributes, with the consequences. So this sometimes, if you're a visual learner, might make a bit more sense as the relationship, how all of these affect what the concept is. So types of concepts. So we've got enumerative concepts that are always present and universal. Age, height, weight. Associative concepts. They exist only in some conditions within a phenomenon. So they may have a zero value. So income, yep, I hear ya. Presence of disease, anxiety. Relational concepts. So basically it has to have a combination of interaction of two or more enumerative or associative concepts. So elderly. So combining age and longevity. Mother. Must combine man, woman, and birth to make this a concept. Statistical concepts, so relates to the property of one thing in terms of its distribution in the population rate. So average blood pressure, HIV/AIDS prevalence rate, any illness rate within your population. And summative concepts. So they represent an entire complex entity of a phenomenon, are complex and not measurable. So nursing, health, environment, something you can't give an exact measure to. So that's from Wills and McEwen on page 51 if you wanted to take a look. So we have levels of abstraction of concepts as well. So starting on one side, we've got concrete, specific concepts. So they are simple, directly observable, empirical, can be seen, felt, or heard. So body temperature, pain, a chair, the color red, jazz music. They're limited by time and space and are observable in reality. And then to the opposite side, we have abstract, general concepts. So for example, love, hope, desire, art, social support, personality. They're not clearly observable directly or indirectly and must be defined in terms of observable concepts. They're independent of time and space. The more abstract a concept is, the more it transcends time and geography. Concept analysis / concept development. Concept analysis and concept development are the terms used most commonly in nursing and are generally applied to the process of inquiry that examines concepts for their level of development as revealed by their internal structure, use, representativeness, and the relationship to other concepts. This leading to concept analysis, exploring the meaning of concepts to promote understanding. Clarifying, recognizing, and defining concepts that describe phenomena is the purpose of concept development or concept analysis. These processes serve as the basis for development of conceptual frameworks, theories, and research studies. Because a considerable portion of the conceptual basis of nursing theory, research, and practice has been constructed using concepts adopted from other disciplines, re-examination of these concepts for relevance and fit is important. So it was all according to Wills and McEwen. So we'll move on to some concept analysis theories. So we'll start out by talking about Avent and Walker. So they first explicated the process of concept analysis for nurses in 1986. Their procedures were based on Wilson's method and clarified his methods so that grad students could apply them to examine phenomena of interest to nurses. They used 3 different processes: concept analysis, concept synthesis, and concept derivation. So the steps in their concept analysis are listed below. Select a concept, determine the aims or purpose, identify all the uses of the concept, determine the defining attributes, identify the model case, identify borderline related, contrary, invented, and illegitimate cases, identify antecedents and consequences, and define the empirical reference. As well, we have Rogers' concept analysis. Rogers first published her evolutionary method for concept analysis in 1989. She found that concept analysis is necessary because concepts are so dynamic and fuzzy and context dependent. Furthermore, because phenomena, needs, and goals change, concept must be continually refined and variations introduced to achieve a clear and more useful meaning. So Rogers' steps of concept analysis are below. Identify the concept and associated terms, select an appropriate setting, collect data, analyze the data, identify an exemplar of the concept, and identify hypotheses and implications for further development. And so I think Rogers was basically getting at the point that these are always changing. So we need to always talk about the future and how we need to continue to develop and continue to look at things that we've already known and what we could know. So we move into talking about Schwartz, Barcott, and Kim. So they made a hybrid model of concept development in 86 and expanded and revised in 1993 as well as 2000. So they have 3 phases: theoretical, fieldwork, and final analytical phase. Moving into Millay theory, in 2012, described 3 strategies to develop conceptual meaning for use in nursing theory, research, and practice. So their 3 strategies are concept exploration, concept clarification, and concept analysis. Morse theory, in response to concerns that some concepts in the nursing world had not been derived and not developed adequately for nursing, Morse developed a theory of concept development to enhance clarity and distinctiveness of actual nursing concepts. She used the terms advanced techniques of concept analysis and described the processes of concept delineation, concept comparison, and concept clarification. Lastly, in 2005, Penrod and Hupsey built on Morse's method and termed their method principle-based concept analysis. Their intent was to determine and evaluate the state of the science surrounding the concept and produce evidence that reveals scholars' best estimate of probable truth in the scientific literature. They outlined 4 principles for their method: epistemologic, pragmatic, linguistic, and logical. So the main ones that Wills and McEwen focus on are Walker and Avent, as well as they focus on Rogers' theory. And so those are, I know Dr. Campbell had posted in her notes to look at it, but it wouldn't be required for the paper to use the method, but just to comment on the theories that are out there. Concept synthesis. So concept synthesis is utilized when concepts require development based on observation or other forms of evidence. The individual must develop a way to group or order the information about the phenomenon from his or her own viewpoint or theoretical requirement. Methods of synthesizing concepts as follows. Qualitative synthesis relies on sensory data, looks for similarities, differences, and patterns among the data to identify the new concept. Quantitative synthesis requires numerical data to delineate those attributes that belong to the concept and those that do not. Literary synthesis involves reviewing a wide range of the literature to acquire new insights about the concept or to find new concepts. And then mixed methods, so use of any of the 3 methods described together, either sequentially or combined. So this is all found from Wills and McEwen textbook. Concept derivation. So it's necessary when there are few concepts currently available to a nurse that explain the problem area. So it's applicable when a comparison or analogy can be made between one field or area that is conceptually defined and another that is not. Concept derivation can be helpful in generating new ways of thinking about a phenomenon or interest. It involves reviewing relevant nursing literature, derive a new meaning for the concept being studied within the context of the topic, so applying it to a different area. It allows a concept in one field to be redefined in another, creating a new concept, thereby contributing to advancement in the latter field. So it's about helping other people to further their concept and going beyond. So we kind of go back to when we were talking about how concepts change and we need to continuously be looking at them and reconsider. The steps of concept derivation as proposed by Walker and Avent in 2005 first off to become thoroughly familiar with existing literature related to the topic, search other fields for new ways of looking at the topic, select a parent concept or set of concepts from another field to use in the derivation process, and 4, redefine the concepts from the parent field in terms of the topic of interest. And that's from Wills and McEwen as well. So the risks of borrowed concepts in nursing. So we've heard lots about borrowing and reapplying in other fields. So the risk of applying this borrowed or shared concepts is that they may have altered their meaning, and it is important to review them for appropriateness of application, according to Wills and McEwen. Nurses must continue to develop distinct, if not unique, knowledge, if it is to take its place as a legitimate professional discipline. Nurses continue to borrow theories from other disciplines, but theories from other disciplines may not be adequate to guide nursing research or practice. Little attention has been given to determining whether the borrowed theories are empirically adequate descriptions, explanations, or predictions of nursing phenomena. In other words, few nurse scientists have determined whether theories from other disciplines can legitimately be considered shared theories and thus appropriate for use by nurses. So that was a study done by Villaruel, Bishop, Simpson, Jamont, and Fawcett in 2001. Now, 2001 is quite a while ago, so hopefully by this point we have worked quite hard to determine ourselves as a professional discipline, and nursing research, as we know, has come a long way from then. Nurses must be confident that their practice is based on theories that are appropriate for nursing situations. They should be able to articulate to their interdisciplinary colleagues and the public how what we do is consistent with theories and research from our professional discipline. Nurse researchers must continue their commitment to the advancement of nursing knowledge, and then we can continue development as a legitimate professional discipline. So, relevance of concept analysis in advancing nursing knowledge and science. Concept analysis can be used to evaluate the level of maturity or development of nursing concepts by identifying gaps in nursing knowledge, determining the need to refine or clarify a concept when it appears to have multiple meanings, evaluating the adequacy of competing concepts in their relation to other phenomena, examining the congruence between the definition of the concept and the way it has been operationalized, and determining the fit between the definition of the concept and its actual clinical application. Because as we know in nursing, there's research on paper, but there's also clinical application to practice. And that is a huge part of what we do and why we are doing this concept analysis to relate to practice. So that's all from Wills and McEwen. So I thought it might be helpful. This is kind of how I learn when I can apply it to my practice, because that is my main experience in nursing. So I took the article exploring the concept of uncertain fertility, reproduction, and motherhood after cancer in young adult women. That was one of our readings. So it was by Halliday and Boughton in 2011. So I applied it using the Rogers method. And so the general concept of this article is uncertainty. So associated terms with that: doubt, apprehension, reservation. So the appropriate realm or setting, it was a search of academic databases, including CINAHL, Medline, PsycInfo, and Google Scholar for a literature review. The attributes of uncertainty, so uncertainty being the inability to determine the meaning of illness-related events. So the attributes were probability, temporality, perception, ambiguity, vagueness, unpredictability, unfamiliarity, and inconsistency. The antecedents of this: serious illness, unclear future, lack of concrete answers, limited or lack of information. The consequences: impedes and limits sense of control, increases feelings of helplessness and stress, which leads to increased worry, frustration, anger, vulnerability, irritability, apprehension, fear, loss of self-esteem, and exaggerated need for help. So an exemplar of the concept. So I struggled on this one a little bit, but there was one study that they referenced in theirs that was a research of 244 women who found illness uncertainty persisted long after cancer diagnosis and treatment. So this kind of related to the need for further research in the experience of reproductive uncertainty for young women and on uncertainty management strategies effectively used by young women. So this is recommended to identify the most promising uncertainty management interventions for them after cancer. So that was discussed in the original article. So hopefully that helps to clarify concept analysis, concept development, and some of the theories and terms used when talking about this. I think my take home from this is about that it's always changing, that a concept is what guides our research and our theories, and this is the basis for what we look for to guide our practice. So developing these concepts in the avenue of nursing is very important. So hopefully this helped. If not, please send me a message, let me know if there's anything. Otherwise, I'll be posting the discussion board, and hopefully we'll have a good discussion on concept development and analysis. Thanks so much.